Okay, let me call the meeting to order of the Drainage District. May I have a roll call, please?
David Fuentes, Precinct 1.
Eddie Cantu, Precinct 2.
Joe Flores, Precinct 3.
Eli Torres, Precinct 4.
All are present today. It constitutes a quorum. Would you lead us in prayer, please?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Dear Lord, we thank you for your promises of love and protection. Grant us hope, health, and healing to families and individuals who are facing struggles today. Thank you for your blessing. Thank you for blessing us with another day, with our families, and with our work. Give us each the guidance, knowledge, discipline, and determination to effectively fulfill our duties of making the best decision for Hidalgo County. May we each recognize every opportunity to pass your blessings on to others every day. In your name, amen.
Amen. Did we have anybody sign up for open forum?
Yes, sir. We do have 2 participants, Judge, for open forum. I will remind the audience to please respect the speaker's time at the podium. There is a 3-minute time limit, and I will advise when there is 1 minute. And for the audience information, we do have translation services available. The units are in the back. Our first presenter is Mr. Joe Rodriguez.
Morning. Just to touch up on what I've been here saying before the June floodings that we got again, I personally put in some work orders that weren't addressed until way after, and I just spoke to Mr. Sanchez, and he's telling me some things, so I do appreciate that. There was a comment that I made the last time on the taxing, and we keep getting taxed, and the system, you know, you wait until we have a major flooding to pass bonds and what have you. Well, that money that stays there is supposed to be for the upkeep, and that upkeep is not being maintained. It's not being done. That's my concern. If that money is supposed to be for that specifically, then why isn't it being maintained and being kept up? I know you all are tired of hearing it, but, you know, myself and there's other people that are in lower areas that, I mean, their flood insurance goes up, their flood zone goes up. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So if that money's designated for that, it should be maintained. Let's not wait till we get a flood and let's go all hands on deck. You know, be proactive. Do what you say you're going to do with that money. Don't divert it to somewhere else. I agree with parks and what have you, and doing this and doing that for the community. Awesome. But first of all, take care of what you're supposed to be taking care of, which is the flooding issues, the roads. Take care of that. And then all the parks and everything else comes into play. And don't wait just to do things when, you know, election times comes up and stuff like that, okay? We really appreciate it. If you would actually do what you promised and you're elected to do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next presenter is Ms. Norma Aldape.
Buenos días, juez, comisionados. Soy Norma Aldape y vengo de los Olivares Acres.
Norma,
del precinto.
un momento, por favor. Do we have a...
He's behind the column.
Okay. Perdón,
Okay.
sígale.
Ok, es solamente para agradecer al comisionado Fuentes y a Mr. Cecín por haber ya concluido nuestra obra de drenaje de nuestra colonia, terminada completamente con driveways y todo. Muchas gracias. Y ahora estamos trabajando en el alumbrado. Nuestra colonia está lista para trabajar, estamos empezando a recolectar las firmas, pero tomar en cuenta que hay colonias que les falta esa infraestructura, que sería muy bueno tomar un poquito de dinero para esas colonias que necesitan. También, aparte de agradecer, cuando tomen decisiones sobre la comunidad, muy importante es ponernos en los zapatos de esas personas para poder sentir y hacer nuestro trabajo, que hasta ahorita tenemos buena comunicación, estamos trabajando bien y queremos seguir trabajando. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Norman Lape, and I'm here to thank you for your work and efforts for the drainage work in our colonias. We are now working in the lightning programs for our colonias, and we are working in the signature collection. We will need more infrastructure and more investment for these programs, and it is very important also to feel empathy for the people in our community and to keep doing our work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda.
No issues, Judge.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5A, discussion and possible action to grant the City of San Juan a restrictive covenant to prohibit residential construction over no more than 150 feet of district property bordering a proposed city dewatering facility.
So moved.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, discussion, consideration, and approval of a joint resolution in support of Proposition 8, House Joint Resolution 4, relating to the Flood Infrastructure Fund, and authorize the Drainage District General Manager, Board Member Fuentes, and Board Member Torres to attend meetings and offer testimony as needed in connection with Proposition 8. I have the resolution to read for the record, Judge. Whereas chronic flooding has affected the economy and health and safety of the citizens of the state of Texas and of Hidalgo County, and whereas recognizing the tremendous challenge posed by flooding, our local state legislators led by Senator Juan Chuy Hinojosa, Representative Oscar Longoria, and Representative Armando Mando Martinez during the 86th legislative session played a critical role in the passage of House Joint Resolution 4, and whereas House Joint Resolution 4 proposes a constitutional amendment also known as Proposition 8, allowing for the creation of the Flood Infrastructure Fund that would authorize $793 million in flood control projects in the state of Texas, and whereas Hidalgo County is the 7th largest county by population, with a population of approximately 1 million citizens, and Hidalgo County represents a critical component of the economy of the state of Texas, and whereas Hidalgo County and Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 advocate the equitable distribution of the Flood Infrastructure Fund throughout the state, recognizing that the project selection should include the projects within Hidalgo County and Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1. And whereas drainage infrastructure projects are critical in providing community resiliency and economic growth, as well as in safeguarding the health and safety of citizens, and whereas Hidalgo County and Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 encourage the citizens of Hidalgo County to fully support Prop 8 in the upcoming November of 2019 statewide elections. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court and the Board of Directors of Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 support Prop 8 and the equitable distribution of the Flood Infrastructure Fund to include drainage projects in South Texas and particularly Hidalgo County. I believe the county has the same item on their agenda for today also.
Yes, Judge, just really quickly, we've been talking to rule-makers and lawmakers up in Austin for quite some time with respect to trying to get some additional funding for much-needed infrastructure, drainage projects, money outside of our bond that the voters approved last year. And a lot of the proposed bills were basically pushed into this proposition. So everything that we had asked for as far as local assistance was pushed into this rainy day fund allocation. So it's not necessarily, when I went up there to testify in front of the Natural Resources Committee, they asked if I was there individually or as a representative of the county, and because we didn't have a resolution, I wasn't able to say I was speaking on behalf of Commissioners Court. So I would like the ability for us to be able to testify during this hearing that's going to be happening on Thursday at the A&M Center here at Tres Lagos. I would like the ability to be able to sit up there and say that I'm speaking not only on behalf of myself in our area, but all of Hidalgo County. This is going to be a really important election for the state. If it's approved, this is a funding mechanism that has no tax impact at all, but provides, over almost $800 million of monies with respect to infrastructure. Where this is particularly helpful for our area is that we believe that this proposition, once the rulemaking has been designed or put out there, we are hopeful that it's going to provide our local cities and communities the ability to plan and prepare, that the monies would be able to be used as participation in federal and state programs, and it will also be able to be used for planning, for engineering, for right-of-way acquisition, and we always know that our small cities have a really hard time in finding the funding necessary because they don't have a tax base that allows them to go out and do that. They don't really have a bond program where they can invest millions of dollars in preparation. This proposition would, as it's written and as we believe legislation intended, will allow them to use these monies under a grant program where there isn't a payback, and they would be allowed to use this money for planning and preparation, and also for participation in programs that are sponsored by the federal and the state Water Development Board, HUD. So this is going to be tremendous for our small cities and obviously for our county. So we are hopeful that everybody will be in support of this, but obviously we have to rely on the voters and the turnout in November. But I just wanted to not necessarily just be the only representative of our court, because any of us are allowed to go up there, but just the ability to be able to say that I'm speaking on behalf of Commissioner's Court. So I would appreciate any consideration and hope that people will participate in this hearing on Thursday.
Motion to approve, and thank you for your efforts. Really appreciate it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments? Well, we thank both of you for your leadership in this area, and we welcome to have you as our spokesman and representatives for this very important matter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5C, approval to issue payment on invoice number DD-07 in the amount of $141,921.67 for the use of Hidalgo County Precinct Number 1 heavy equipment for the months of April through June, second quarter of 2019.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Next item under 2018 bond referendum projects, 6A, requesting authority to advertise and approval of plans and specifications developed by project engineer Sames, Inc. for Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1, Hidalgo Drain Military Road Crossing, 2018 bond referendum project number 13. RFB number 8CDD1-19-0640830, including the re-advertising of the project in event no bid responses are received and/or rejected and the project is still required.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to de-obligate $10 million from the district's 2019 bond series fund, and correction that should read 134, Fund 134, and return to the district general fund to its unreserved fund balance.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to reimburse the general fund $1,377,313.94 for expenditure payments relating to the 2018 bond program.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. And who made this calculation?
Accounting, sir.
Your accounting?
Yes, sir. Accounting, yes. Anyone else would just?
Okay, we have-
Accounting, yes, sir.
We have a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Next item, requesting approval of final negotiated professional services agreement, subject to legal review with the Isaguirre Engineering Group as it relates to professional engineering services related to the project Sunflower Drain, 2018 bond referendum project number 36, approved for negotiations by the Board of Directors on agenda item number 69690 on April 2nd, 2019.
Move for approval.
Second.
So we can start making kind of a mental note on what the price of engineering is. What percentage did you negotiate?
On this particular one, I'd have to get with the engineering. I know that they've been focusing between 9% and 10%, Judge, but I need to look it up and see exactly what this one was worked on.
Okay, I think it would be helpful for all of us so we can have an understanding of what the market is for
Yes,
this
sir.
type of of services?
I know that Mr. Cecine and engineering has been keeping the negotiating under the 10% as they stated throughout the entire bond election process. Yes, sir.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Pursuant to the board's approval of professional agreement with the Sahari Engineering Group, requesting approval of work authorization number 1 in the amount of $107,846.57 to provide engineering services for Sunflower Drain 2018 bond referendum project number 36, subject to legal review and compliance with HB 1295. Contract number CHEDD 1-19-042-0813.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item under 2012 bond referendum, 2013 bond series. Requesting approval of notice to resume work order to Castle Enterprises with effective date of August 19, 2019 related to construction contract number CHCDD 1-18-047-0925. Alamo Expressway Drain Project with authority for General Manager Mr. Raul Cecine to sign notice.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item 7B, requesting approval of change order number 1, reflecting a decrease in the total amount of $66,056.27 and no additional construction calendar days in connection with contract number CHCDD 1-19-036-0507. Hidalgo County Drainage District number 1, Iowa Road Drainage Improvements Project with Castle Enterprises as recommended by project engineer B2Z with authority for general manager Mr. Raul Cecine to execute documents subject to compliance with HB 1295.
So moved.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Next item, requesting approval of final negotiated professional services agreement subject to legal review with Javier Hinojosa Engineering as it relates to professional engineering services related for project Moorfield Road and Inspiration, Mile 5 Road through Mile 6 Road, approved for negotiations by the Board of Directors on agenda item number 70892, June 18, 2019.
For approval.
Second.
Same question. What was the price that you negotiated?
Same response, Judge. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll find out and get you those
Okay.
answers, sir.
Well, it
These
would
these
be
are
helpful.
negotiated by our engineering and Mr. Cecine, sir, so
All right.
I do have them readily available, so I'll make sure
It's
I leave
okay.
those behind
It's all
for
right.
you.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Pursuant to the Board's approval of professional agreement with Javier Hinojosa Engineering, requesting approval of work authorization number 1 in the amount of $70,337.82 to provide engineering services for Moorfield Road and Inspiration Road, Mile 5 Road through Mile 6, subject to legal review and compliance with HB 1295. Contract number CHDD 1-19-055-0813.
So move approval. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
So real quick, before you move on.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I know you're asking questions about the percentage. The one thing that I know that we did represent during the whole bond process was that engineering expenses would not exceed 10% of the project cost. But what Raul and his staff have done is they've actually taken the anticipated project cost, backed out all of land acquisition to get to a net construction cost, net project construction cost. And then they're negotiating, starting off way below 10% and trying to make sure the scope of work is, commensurate with the percentage that they're going to get paid. So it's not just 10% of the cost. It's just 10% of the project anticipated construction. So I think they're really trying to make sure that they keep these costs down.
Good. And our job is to see that they do that.
Yes, sir. We're getting those numbers for you, Judge.
I just wanted to clarify, because
Yes,
No,
sir.
that's
Thank
good.
you,
when we're
Commissioner.
talking about project
Yeah,
costs,
that's good.
it's net of land acquisition, which is not part of the construction.
No, sir, that's correct.
And one other point, the only thing that should drive up the percentage is the complexity of the project, not the ability of the negotiator.
Right, that's correct,
So
Commissioner.
we'll keep on that.
Yes.
May I continue?
I appreciate that information. Go ahead.
Item 7D, requesting acceptance and approval of work authorization number 2 in the amount of $16,590.25 as submitted by Millennium Engineers Group in relation to professional CMT services for Jackson Drain Improvements through awarded contract number CHDD 1-19-031-0409 for Hidalgo County Drainage District number 1 on-call professional construction material testing services subject to legal review compliance with HB 1295.
Move.
Second.
What does on-call mean?
We have a couple of engineers on call for construction material services. Judge, just on an as-needed basis for whatever projects come up that might require these services. We'll usually have 1, 2, sometimes up to 3 firms designated through our pool, and we'll execute the contract with them and have them, like I say, on call on an as-needed basis for any projects that may arise.
And the reason for this is because time is of the essence.
That's
You need to act
correct.
quick, no, whatever.
That's correct, Judge. Yes, sir.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Item E, approval to issue payment on the following items, proceeding review and compliance of contract terms and condition. Jackson Drain Improvement Budget 310, application for payment number 1 in the amount of $77,811.48 from Castle Enterprises LLC pertaining to construction contract number ACDD 1 18-048-0925. Project engineers, Mr. Jose Salivat from our office. Everything's in order, sir.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Judge, on the item with Isaguirre, that one was negotiated at 8.6%. And the one with Javier Hinojosa, 7D, is 8.5%, sir. Thank you. We appreciate all your support.
One other thing, Judge, I think it's important to note why Raul Cecin isn't here. He's up in Austin receiving, a $2 million award for our Raymondville drain.
Yes, sir.
That's great.
So I think that it's
Really
important. Jaime, thank you
Yes.
for running the meeting on his behalf.
Well,
But I
thank
think
you
it's
for all
important
your
for people
support.
to know that we're continuing to look for ways to fund our projects, and he's up there getting $2 million. So it's a good reason to not be
That's
here. And I
correct.
know Commissioner Torres was torn between being here and being up there because they're both important. But congratulations to you guys on the Raymondville drain monies.
Thank you all.
That's another attaboy.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for all your support, continued support. No items for executive session today.
Okay.
Move
Well,
to adjourn.
I think that we have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
8 minutes, Judge.
8 minutes.
10 o'clock.
I call the Commissioners Court meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
David Fuentes, Precinct 1.
Eddie Cantu, Precinct 2.
Joe Flores, Precinct 3.
Eli Torres, Precinct 4.
All are present, constitutes a quorum. Today, we're very proud to have another veteran say our Pledge of Allegiance, and we're honored to have United States Air Force Captain James Barnes leading us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Barnes is a Vietnam veteran who served 2 combat tours in Southeast Asia from March 1965 to March 1973, and we all are very thankful for his service.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Military veterans may utilize the hand salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Almighty God, we come together today for the good of the citizens of Hidalgo County. Give us your wisdom as we make decisions that will affect them today and in the years to come. Help us to work well together, recognizing that each of us are here because we want what is best for Hidalgo County. We ask for your blessing and your guidance. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, next item is the approval of the consent agenda.
Judge, Commissioners, if I may, I'd like to take out of order, consent agenda, out of order, 10A, 10B, 1 and 2.
Move for approval without those.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, for the record, Commissioner Fuentes will abstain from any action and or discussion with respect to consent agenda item 10A, 10B, 1 and 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Let the record show that Commissioner Fuentes abstained. Okay.
Judge, if I may, could we move up one of, an agenda item that's under you, Judge? Item 14A. 14A.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I come before you, presentation, discussion, necessary action to terminate the order of continuous local state of disaster for the County of Hidalgo to the
due to the torrential rains events from June 24, 2019, which caused widespread flooding and damage to properties. Item number 2, presentation and discussion on authorization for the county judge to sign the required documents.
You want to just briefly explain why we're doing it?
The reason why the termination of the declaration is that our response has stopped. We're already going into the PA portion of it. We still have 60 days to continue recovering any more debris in the precinct 1 area. So the emergency response has already stopped, so that's why we're concluding the disaster declaration.
And I'm glad you're making a distinction between the termination of the disaster and then also that we're going to continue our efforts in cleaning up because
Yes,
we
sir.
still have a lot of
Yes, sir.
repairs and debris that we have to help out with. So even though this declaration is terminating, we are still in recovery mode.
In the recovery mode, and we can still continue add to our DSO
Yes, sir.
on the amount of cost. that
And we
we're-
thank you for your efforts in coordinating all of that
Thank
with
you,
the state.
Commissioner.
Thank you.
I have a motion to approve item 14A, 1 and 2.
So move for approval.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you,
Chief.
Judge, Commissioners.
Thank you, Chief.
Judge, Commissioners, item 5A, 1, 2, 3, and 4, there will be no action today. We will have that on our next scheduled regular meeting.
Okay. Item 6A.
Good morning, Commissioners. Judge Rosalinda Cantu presenting for the District Attorney's Office. Item 6A, ratification of the agreement between the Texas Workforce Commission and the Hidalgo County District Attorney's Office to extend the term under the contract number 2916 PEN 04T to July 31st, 2019.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
HIDA, item 7A, Fund 1291, approval to resubmit reprogram request to South Texas HIDA from FY 2018 grant funds in the amount of $4,866.25 and related transfer.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8A.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners, Chief Herrera with the Sheriff's Office, Hidalgo County. I'd like to start off with 8C first, to get that one out of the way. 8C, number 1, request to accept the Educational Experience Affiliation Agreement and the College of Health Affairs Program Agreement in accordance with the internship program between University of Texas Rio Grande Valley and Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office upon Commissioner's court approval.
You want to go to second? Yeah. Number 2 also?
Yeah, number 2, authorization for Hidalgo County Sheriff as authorized official to sign required documents.
Move for approval on 1 and 2.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
8A, discussion and consideration and approval to appoint Rosalinda M. Reyes, student at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, as an intern under Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office Law Enforcement Program for the period of September 1st, 2019 to September 1st, 2019 to December 13th, 2019.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
8B, authorization and approval for Sheriff J.E. Eddie Guerra to sign fiscal year 2020 cooperative state and local task force agreement between the United States Department of Justice Drug Enforcement Administration and Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Item 9A.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Martin Blanco on behalf of Constable Cestin Avila. One item, 9A, discussion, consideration, or approval to appoint Eduardo Trevino and Jaime Ventos Reserve Deputies Constables by Constable Cestin Avila Jr., Constable Precinct 1, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code, Section 86.012.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very
Have a good
much.
day.
Judge, Commissioners, if I may, for Constable Precinct 4, 10A, discussion, consideration, approval to appoint Carlos Perez as Reserve Deputy Constable by Constable A, J.R. Gaitan, Constable Precinct 4, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code, Section 86.012.
Move for approval?
Second.
Just for the general knowledge of the public, what does a reserve deputy constable do?
A reserve deputy constable, Judge, there's, timing is impeccable. There you go. So the question is the role of a reservist with the deputy constable.
The role of a reserve is to supplement the manpower of the regular deputies in general. When we have enhanced operations, whether at night, working border security, along those lines, that's when the reserve deputies come out.
And are these paid positions?
No, sir, they are not.
And the reservists are only activated through direction of the elected officer or the elected official in this particular case.
That is correct.
Constable
Yes,
Gaitan.
sir. That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay, I thought that would be good information to
Okay.
pass on to the public.
Was the agenda item?
Yes, sir, it was
Yeah.
approved.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Silguero.
Good morning, Raul Silguero, Human Resources. Good morning, Judge Commissioners. 11A, requesting a waiver of the budget amendment policy for personnel-related amendments for personnel items that are listed below.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 11B for Precinct 3 Parks, the precinct is requesting approval to create a temporary full-time position for 20 weeks beginning August 19th and ending 12/31/2019, and the position is temporary slot 025, crew leader 2, grade 9, subject to funding, please.
Move for approval.
Second.
You know, the auditors look at this all the time, and
Yes,
they
sir.
make comments on item 11B and 11D. Did you all resolve the issues where the funding is coming from?
So the fiscal note is created, and I believe Mr. Guerra works with the budget office, if the item is approved, to do the funding.
Okay,
Mr.
so if
Guerra?
the items approved, funding will be provided.
Right, we
Yes,
do identify
okay.
the funding.
We have a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 11C for Precinct 4 Sanitation, the precinct is asking approval of the following personnel action effective upon Commissioner's Court approval. This is simply a title change, no change in salary or cost. It's slot 007 from Sanitation Attendant 1 to a Clerk 2, same title, just title change.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 11D for the county clerk, approval of the following personnel action effective next full pay period, 8/19/2019. The department is asking to delete slot 0012, which is a deputy clerk 3 at a grade 9. Instead, they need an administrative assistant 4 under slot 0080 at a grade 10, subject to funding.
Move for approval.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item E, Judge Commissioners, we brought this policy, the mother-friendly worksite policy for Hidalgo County employees. We brought it at the last meeting for discussion. We are bringing it for approval. It has been reviewed by legal, and we're asking approval for the policy, the one that you all discussed and directed us to place on the agenda.
So moved. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item F is simply a point of information, Judge, where Commissioners, we have developed a form which we're going to use when we hire employees, asking on a voluntary basis if the employee is a veteran, that he complete a form that gives us information about his veteran status. We will send the form to all departments so that we can build a database on the number of veterans that we have in our workforce and the type of veterans that they are, disabled, recently separated, and so forth. So just a point of information that we'll be collecting this base, and we'll give you a report when we collect the data. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Commissioner.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes,
really
ma'am.
quick on that one. I'm so sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
On the Veterans Acknowledgement Form, will that be included in the orientation once a person has been hired in the packet so that we can keep up with it from
Yes, yes, it will be, it'll be a part of the ongoing enrollment process, yes.
Okay.
But since we're gonna query all the departments to get information on veterans that are already on the payroll, and we have no information on that. But then it will become a regular part of the enrollment process. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. P.R. Avila with the Hidalgo County Urban County Program. For item 12A, requesting approval of a program amendment for the City of San Juan. The proposed amendment is for the fiscal year 30 work plan.
So moved. Second.
And specifically, what is it?
What this is, Judge, the City of San Juan actually completed all their 2017 street improvement projects. They have a surplus amount, about $44,700, that they're going to go ahead and move to their 2018 street improvements.
Okay. We have a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 13A.
Mr. Olivares? Judge, let's go ahead.
He's outside. Oh, he's coming.
There he goes.
I've never seen him move that.
Please, movie.
I've never seen you move that fast.
See,
I can do pretty good most of the time.
you can do wellness just running from the hallway.
Hey, I agree, and I applaud the wellness direction that the Commissioner's Court is going with.
Now do 10
Again,
push-ups.
Mr. Suleiman is an extremely interesting person to have discussions with. So, my name is Eddie Olivares, Hidalgo County Health and Human Services. I have several items today. Item number 13A, requesting approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement between the City of Progreso, County of Hidalgo, and the purpose of the agreement is for Hidalgo County Health and Human Services to provide inspections for permitting of OSSF disposal systems or sewage systems within that community,
Move for approval.
within that city. The jurisdiction within the City of City of Progreso, and further description within the interlocal cooperation agreement. Legal has looked at these agreements, and this is part of our TCQ requirement to have these agreements to do OSSF in their community.
So
Second.
we have a motion and a second, but I won't approve it until you tell me what the mascot is for Progreso.
Isn't that a red ant?
Okay.
Yeah,
Those in
yeah.
favor say aye. Aye.
There you go. Yeah. I just
Anyone
wasn't
opposed?
sure if they got another high school or not, but I remember the first one was a red ant.
Yeah. Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Item B is requesting approval of the interlocal cooperative agreement between the City of Alton and the County of Hidalgo. The purpose of the agreement is for Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department to provide inspections and permitting of OSSF disposal systems within the City of Alton jurisdiction as further described within the interlocal cooperative agreement.
So moved. Second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And just for trivia, back in the day when Alton had its own school district, their mascot was a pigeon. I'm not kidding you.
I'm
It really
impressed.
was. Yeah. All right. So, because we just, well, I'm not going to say it. Nonetheless. Item C is requesting approval of the interlocal cooperative agreement between the City of Donna and the County of Hidalgo. The purpose of the agreement is for Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department to provide inspections, permitting of OSSF disposal systems within the City of Donna jurisdiction, and is further described in the interlocal agreement approved by legal.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item D, pursuant to Chapter 121, Local Public Health Reorganization Act, Section 121.006, requesting approval of the revised schedule of fees for Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department effective September 1st, 2009. The fee schedule is attached.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And a lot of that has to do along with the current federal poverty levels and the different things that we have to adjust for. So that's what it involves there. Item 2 is requesting approval to return the $25 change fund from the tuberculosis division to the county treasurer's office. And basically the amount of money that we use in our TB program, cash basis, is so minimal that we're just going to return that change fund. That way we don't have to deal with the auditing component of it.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And because also we get funding from the state to provide TB treatment, so that the state pays for the TB treatment. Item E is requesting approval of the memorandum of understanding between Hidalgo County Health and Human Services, Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service, TEEX, and the purpose of the MOU is for training and support of continuing education units for public health preparedness and response. The MOU will begin as the date of this last signature and terminate September 1st, 2021.
Approval.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
This is extremely important because they offer a lot of, I'm going to mispronounce it, I'll need help with it, TCLO credits for the law enforcement, and they provide them at no cost to us many times, so a lot of our law enforcement officers are able to pick up their hours very inexpensively, so that's a good thing to have for us here. Item F is the healthcare funding district. Again, we're working with the state and their timelines, not necessarily our timelines. So item F1 is a discussion and consideration approval to draw down funds for the demonstration year 8 final UC uncompensated care payment and the amount to be determined by Health and Human Services Commission for the Local Provider and Participation Fund, the LPPF, with a transfer on 9/9 and a settlement date of 9/10/19. We're waiting to get that figure from the state. They have not given it to us, but that'll be within the limits, and we're reviewing by budget and auditor's office when those figures come in. So I need to get that approval to get ready for this.
Move for approval.
Second.
But it says discussion. Is there any discussion?
Okay. All right. Discussion, consideration, and approval. And we're pending the instructions on the 28th of this month or sooner to get those instructions. But once we get them, we're pre-planning ahead of time.
Okay. Is there any discussion? We have a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No one opposed? Motion carries.
Item B would be approval of the certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor, which will be involved with the discussion along with the budget office and the treasurer's office for the LPPF and the amount determined by HHSC and for final instructions.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No one opposed? Motion carries.
Approval for the 2019 appropriations of funds for the LPPF and the amount to be determined by HHSC and final instructions.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No one opposed? Motion carries.
And discussion and action, including but not limited to indigent health care program and F-15 waiver and expenditures. There is no discussion there for that. Again, the LPPF is funding, participation funding that the hospitals give to the county, and the county then submits it to the feds. It does not impact general fund at all. This is strictly hospital funding that's pushed forward. So there,
Okay. So why do we have it in the agenda we don't discuss it? I mean, it says discussion and/or action.
remember, this was a discussion where we had a situation where there's a last-second instructions that come up between meetings, and if we need to have something open discussion, this is what happened, why we had to change the date for the Commissioners' Court meeting on July 1st, was because they changed the decisions at the last second. And if we need to scramble with something for a last-minute decision for Commissioners' Court, this gives me the viability to bring something to court with minimal or no notice because the state determines how they do their scheduling.
Got it. And this is a program that we're trying to leverage the funds to give you more money
To help with uncompensated care and to help with those areas in the hospitals here locally.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
If there's any questions, thank you very much.
Eddie, can you run outside?
Well, I got to continue the discussion with Mr. Suleiman. It's a real interesting discussion. He must have got an A+ in law school. I mean, interesting discussion points. Thank you. Have a good day.
Walk with him.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Jaime Longoria with the Hidalgo County Community Service Agency. Judge, with your permission, I'd like to take item 15B first, if I could.
Sure.
Okay. Item 15B is discussion, consideration, and possible action to accept a $300,000 grant from the Texas Veterans Commission Fund for Veterans Assistance for program year 2019-2020 for Operation Bravo Zulu, with authorization for Jaime Longoria to electronically sign any and all pertinent documents. Judge, Commissioners, I'm proud to say that A week ago, this past Monday, a delegation from Hidalgo County, Commissioner Fuentes sent a couple of folks, the judge's office sent a person to Cameron County to accept the $300,000 check. It was a ceremonial presentation of an oversized check. I'm proud to say that this is the third year in 4 years that we've received the grant. It's almost $1 million, $900,000 that we've received over these 3 years. We use those $300,000 every year to get veterans that are living below 200% of federal poverty into our facility. And the very first question we ask veterans when they come in is, are they connected to the VA? You know, and this ties back to a presentation that I did before you previously, and that is 22 veterans a day commit suicide in the United States. And of those 22 veterans, the VA tells us that 16 of those veterans were not connected to the VA in any way. And we made a decision here in Hidalgo County at CSA, and that is to do everything we could to get veterans in the door, have a discussion with them, and the primary discussion is, how do we get you connected back to that agency that provides such important services? So I'm proud to say that's how we utilize the money. It's not just a utility bill paying program, but it's a program where we have dialogue with veterans.
What's the Bravo Zulu?
Bravo Zulu means Operation Job Well Done.
Right.
It was named that way strategically to tell the veterans of Hidalgo County that we're proud of what they've done to serve this country, and we'll continue to do everything we can to take care of them.
We appreciate your efforts, Jaime, in helping out the veterans the way you are, and we're especially proud of the $300,000 that you received again. I was at that ceremony last year, couldn't make it this year, but great job well done.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15A is authorization to extend the interdepartmental transfer from the county's general fund to the Hidalgo County Community Service Agency to be utilized as operational funds to be reimbursed at 90 days after the termination of Bravo Zulu grant. These funds, because Bravo Zulu, the funds we receive from the Veterans Commission is a reimbursement basis, we do need a little bit of operational funds. Last year we asked for $180,000. We were going to repay that back to the general fund. However, Balde and the budget officer have suggested, and the auditor has suggested, that we just roll that over into the new grant instead of coming up with another transfer.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Item 16A.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Yvonne Ramon with the Elections Department. Bear with me as I give you a few election updates. Hilda will be passing those out. The first one, of course, is the schedule for the November 5th, 2019 constitutional amendment election that's coming up. Again, November 5th, but important dates that I highlighted for you start with October 7th, which is the last day to register or to make changes in order to have those changes or that new registrant be able to vote during the November 5th, 2019. The first day of early voting will start on Monday, October 21st, and the last day of early voting will end on Friday, November 1st. We are getting ready to meet with cities and schools that may have an election alongside with us, and right now we're looking at about 8 additional elections. The second item in your packet are explanatory statements. Now, we have got 10 constitutional amendments that will be on the ballot. What the state provides for us, what the Secretary of State provides for us, are statements that we can read to someone who will ask you, well, what does this mean? We're not allowed to try to give our own opinion. We're only allowed to read these explanatory statements. So we will be posting them on our website, and I thought I would give you all a copy in case you're talking to someone and they're asking you about one of these amendments. Keeping in mind that these are resolutions that are used to propose changes to the Constitution. The third legislative update, and here 246 amendments were added to the Texas Election Code, and I have given you copies of 18. Number one, the election security, thank you, because you did approve us to get this assessment, and so we're working with the AT&T DIR so that they can come and assess our security measures, cybersecurity as well as infrastructure. Confidentiality, there are 6 slides, and so I'll let you look those over on your own, keeping in mind that we work with the Office of Court Administration already, and online federal and state judges can propose confidentiality. What does that mean? That means that their name will be on the voter registration database, but not an address. And they can even go further, and other documents can also be removed. What has happened is that now you will see that the list of people that can come to our office and request this, this confidentiality has grown. They just added, during this last session, they added the spouses of peace officers. There are all kinds of officers and their families that can request this confidentiality. It's very important that people know this. So we're going to be proactive, and we're going to be trying to reach out to the different groups to let them know that they can come by the office and they can fill out a form, and we can work with them on this confidentiality. Before, what they would do is they would use the 100 North Klossner, which is our courthouse, but that would restrict them from voting in their local elections, for example, because they would only be able to vote in Edinburgh while maybe they were officers in Mission or McAllen or anywhere in the county. So now they will be able to participate in their local elections and yet have the confidentiality that they would require. So if we turn to page 5, this ballot order is a great change. Before, we would have the election and there would be a runoff. We would have to wait to proceed until there was a draw to see the order of names. And now, for all elections, including the May, cities and schools, all elections now, whatever order you were on with the original ballot, that will now continue on to the runoff. So this is great for time efficiency. If you turn the page, the number 12 at the bottom of page 6, this is very, very important, and I invite you to call me, to email me, and to ask me questions, because this is going to be a big change for, it says eliminates mobile voting. As you well know, during the federal elections and during the primary and the general, we have what are called mobile units, and we usually have 2 to 3 units that go out there. It's 2 or 3 teams, and they may visit 24 to 30 locations. Sometimes they're there all day. We go into our county buildings. We go to the tax office. We go to the court during jury duty. We visit all kinds of hospitals and the banks and the rural areas. Well, now this law, House Bill 1888, requires that these mobile units be open for 12 days. That means that right now, just for early voting, with 32 permanent sites and 2 mobiles that we used during the 2018, early vote cost over $534,000 for payroll alone. Just payroll. That means that we would have an additional 30 teams that would stay there for 12 days. We are open 12 hours. Well, they would require that they be open a minimum of 8 hours. So most counties are now eliminating this type of voting. We were able to just do the outskirts and do those locations that are very busy. But this is something that we really need to think about. I briefly talked to Sergio earlier. The good thing that you can depend on is that during our election day, we do make sure that we visit our rural sites. We're in Granjeno and Hargill and McCook and San Carlos, and we're all in the outskirts also with our schools that allow us to come in and set up a poll location in those rural areas. So we will be covered with that one day of election day. But I do know that coming up on hard times and our budget, we're looking at our budget, it would cost over $1 million in payroll alone. That doesn't include supplies. That doesn't include just the day-to-day necessities to have a poll location. So that is very, very important, and I need for you all to read that. And as I said, if you have any questions for me, I'm available so that we can discuss. At this point, we are recommending that you review this, and the possibility of mobile units for our federal elections may no longer be a choice. The next page on 7.
Well, I'll tell you right now, well, how do we mitigate the consequences of what you just told us? Don't look at us. I mean, that's why we hire you, so you need to come back with some recommendations as to how to mitigate that.
Thank you, sir. And I have, like I said, been reviewing our election day locations, and we are covered as far as those small locations. We were just trying to bring the possibility of a vote to the community. We were at the tax office during busy times. We were at our court during jury duty. And that was just a convenience so that the voter, no excuse. You know, the vote is coming, the possibility of voting is coming to me, but we also have to look at the bottom line of the cost. And so, talking to other counties, most counties that have had mobile voting are no longer going to utilize it. So I will come back and we can, like I said, you can call me, we can discuss this further. But certainly this is going to be a difficult task. The next page on 7, website posting requirements. Wow, this House Bill 933 has certainly changed things for the way we process. During every day of early vote, we visit our poll sites. We pick up what are called combination forms, which are the logs that people manually sign in. Now this law will require us to post those by 11 p.m. the next day. On our website, they're requiring us to post a lot more. So we're going to review that and, let you know where things are located, trying to make it easy on the eyes, as I tell my staff, so that the community has an easy time locating. But these combination forms are just where the person signs in, and they've become such a really people are interested in them. They balance to the people that electronically sign in. So for us, it's a backup document, more of making sure that the numbers are coinciding with the numbers on the machine. But obviously, people are interested in these, and now the law requires us to post them. So that'll be an additional posting, and we'll have to review our website to make sure that we are abiding by these laws. The Page 8, submission of early vote information, is the same thing. Well, that's where I'm talking about the combination form, and requires us to post on our county website by 11 p.m. the next day. The bottom on page 8, availability of election records. This is certainly going to hit our cost, because now they are requiring that we provide all election records that a person requests and only charge $50. Sometimes these requests have been in the thousands because they require countless copies, like of these combination forms. Maybe that's why they're now going to be online. But of everything, someone will come and say, I want everything, a copy of everything. And it could be $4, $5, $6, $10,000, and now all we can charge is $50.
Well, okay, when you say I want a copy of something, you can't give them an electronic copy of something?
If something fits electronically, definitely, we do work with them. But there are those that would require instead a paper copy, and we can't deny them their request. So yes, definitely, we work with CDs and the DVDs, and we try to be efficient, post things online. And there are people that say, I know you have it online, but I still want a copy. So we have to work with this.
And the law says we have to give them a copy?
With this Senate Bill 902, Senator Hughes, yes, sir.
Is that
Yes,
right,
sir.
Steve?
With a cap of $50.
I've not reviewed that bill.
Yes, I'd like for you to, and we can discuss this, but certainly this is something that will affect our budget. There are the other two are on debt obligation for elections, requires additional posting, creates a different chapter in our government code for those that are having bond elections. And so again, just giving you 18 of the 246 different changes that are now within our election code this past legislative session. Massive mail out this year. By December, we will now be sending you a new voter registration certificate. So we are sending out right now what are called forms to have people update their records. So I'm asking the community, if you are receiving those forms from the Department of Elections, please fill them out and send them back. You can also walk them in, because we're asking for an update on your election information. This is so that when we do send out that new card, it doesn't get returned, because it's a vicious cycle of being returned and having to send another one out again. So if you are receiving anything from the Elections Department, please take time, review it, and work with us so that we can have a cleaner database. Any questions on the updates?
Yes,
Sorry,
you
it's
need-
a lot.
Yes, you need to get together with Sergio and quantify all these unfunded mandates, because if we have to pay for them, we have to pay for them, so we might as well know what that is.
Yes, sir. Sometimes those requests come in, we don't know they're coming in, like an election. Sergio and I worked for many years, and he would ask me, you need to tell me how many elections you're having this year so we can prepare. And I'd say, sir, we don't know. A city will call on us and say, you know what, we're having a tax ratification election. It's a special election, not within the scope of May or November. The same thing with our school districts with bond elections. It's something they're reviewing, and it's something they notify us, but then we have to move forward. Right now, we're still running the runoff election for the special election in Weslaco that had it was a special election, had 4 candidates, and now yesterday we started the runoff. So these are costs that we are not able to prepare. But I think Sergio now understands the need of our budget, and he does work very well with us and does accommodate us when the need is there. So thank you for that. And thank you, Mr. Guerra, because I know you have a lot to do with that as well. So now I'll proceed with B, discussion, consideration, and approval of the order of the...
Are there any other questions? And thank you for the update. This was
Yes,
very,
sir.
very beneficial.
Yes, sir. So item B, discussion, consideration, and approval of the order of the proposed constitutional amendments as submitted by the 86th Legislature regular session of the state of Texas and early voting locations for the November 5th, 2019 election.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
C is discussion, consideration, and approval of the November 5th, 2019 constitutional amendment election day polling locations.
Approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And I hope that sending you those ahead of time, I tried as soon as we knew what we were recommending, we sent them to you so that you would have an opportunity to review. And again, should any change come up due to a remodel or something beyond our control, I will bring that, and it'll be a small amendment, but you will at least know where these locations are. Keeping in mind that a constitutional does reduce the locations because of the less voter turnout. D is approval of certification of revenues by county auditor for 2018 Chapter 19 funds in the amount of $16,107.15 and appropriation of same.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Judge, item 17A is discussion, consideration, and action regarding joint resolution in support of Proposition 8. As we just heard from Ms. Ramon, the state has put out some rainy day fund allocations that need or require the public's approval through an election. We're asking for some support with respect to Proposition 8. We're doing this through the Drainage District as well, which is going to provide some funding for infrastructure projects related to drainage. We believe this provides a lot of opportunity for our communities to prepare and plan for infrastructure, or much-needed infrastructure with respect to drainage. So we're asking support in this resolution or Proposition 8.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We had a full discussion in the Drainage District
Yes, sir.
agenda. Go ahead.
Morning, Judge, Commissioner, Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 18A is discussion, consideration, and approval of various orders authorizing the establishment of streetlights along county roads located in the following subdivisions: Wisashi Acres, number 11, Rincon del Valle, number 3, Un Nuevo Amanecer, Village Grove, number 2, and White Wing, number 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
How was this determined as to where to put this?
It's based on the petition that the subdivisions submit to the county. They have to achieve at least a 70% participation before we bring those to court for consideration.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
When opposed, motion carries.
Item 18B is requesting approval of payment of Hidalgo County's share of El Morillo drain expenses to the Rio Grande Regional Water Authority totaling $106,107.94, with authority for the county treasurer to issue payment after review and auditing procedures are completed by the county auditor.
Well, I'm going to say that I want to not take any action on this because it went up 300%, and we don't know why it went up 300%. Or did you find out the reason for that?
They provided the cost allocation. In the invoice, it does illustrate the new improvements that are going to be made. But we could, no action, and then get further direction or get more clarification from the entity so we can find out exactly why these improvements need to be made. We haven't been provided that as far as the reason
Okay,
why.
well, I'd like to do that.
Yes.
So with your all permission, I'd like to take no action and re-put it on the agenda.
So, Judge, Commissioner, with your permission, then I'll work with Sergio. Then we are going to have a workshop next week, which we'll announce later, remind everyone, and a very, very, very small agenda. So we'll place it on not next week, but the following week's regular agenda.
Okay.
Judge, would you like us to coordinate that meeting with them, whether a conference call or?
I'll let you all get whatever answer you need to
We'll do that.
to get with this. I talked to Mayor Darling, and he wasn't sure, so he said he would get the information.
Item 18C, discussion, consideration, and approval of the personnel actions as reflected on the agenda. And these are for change in funding sources for auto allowance for 3 DA employees.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 18D is approval of transfers of lapsed allowances and fringe benefits from various departments into the countywide contingency account.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Don't
I
spend
have
it
a
all.
quick question on that.
Yes,
Do we
ma'am.
have an amount on that?
Yes, the total amount for FICA, health, and longevity is $1,393,585.83.
It's all going to precinct 4.
Great.
Object.
I need it.
Minus.
Scratch. Go ahead.
Item 18E1 is approval of 2019 appropriation of funds from Road and Bridge unassigned fund balance for various Precinct 2 Road and Bridge projects in the amount of $583,544.96.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And item 18E2 is approval of 2019 appropriation of funds from the District Clerk's Record Management and Preservation Fund in the amount of $132,230.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Thank you.
Nineteen A, Purchasing Department, Martha Salazar. This is discussion and action, if applicable, on the closure notice sent by Texas Workforce Commission through an existing agreement entered and dated September 12, 1949, of the Hidalgo County Courthouse snack bar effective August 30th, 2019, with removal of state assets scheduled for September 3rd and 4th, with details as to the reasons for closure on the list. It's attached, the list of assets is attached, and then I have also given you on the attachments the actual letter and an email that I confirmed back to Texas Workforce Commission for the reasons it was closing and details as to their pickup of their assets.
And Marty, just briefly for the audience information.
Correct.
With respect to the reason the state, I say state, the
Yes.
reason that the commission decided.
Yes, the original agreement was always to help the blind and handicapped. For 70 years, they were able to secure eligible candidates to do that. I think everybody remembers Frankie.
Yes.
She was the longest tenured. Now, in the last 2 years, the previous manager that qualified decided to retire. There are regulations under Texas Workforce that they can only have a temporary manager for 2 years. That has now come to pass. The temporary manager, they have not been able to qualify anyone to take over. The employees of the snack bar are totally the temporary manager's employees, not the county's. And so then we're left with the situation that we will have no food services as they provide, which were always supposed to be of a cold nature. It was never supposed to be hot food, but then it morphed into that as we know it today. Now, I'm suggesting, well, first of all, item A, there's no action. It's just that it's inevitable. It's going to close. We have no say so in it, as far as through Texas Workforce Commission in the state.
Do we have a plan for?
Well, that's in number 2. I'm going to give you some options. So on B, first, it's we're suggesting.
We don't need any action on number 1A.
To accept the closure, I guess, would be the only thing, but we can't, even if we said, no, we don't want you to close it, they will not continue.
Okay.
Okay, on item B, I would suggest starting with, once the state inventory is taken out, then it becomes vacant, and I think we need a complete inspection of electrical, plumbing, fire, et cetera, to be conducted after it is vacated. Now, if you also will see in what I provided you as a handout, once a place is vacant, you must get it up to code. Once the court determines who would either occupy, it would depend on the complexity of what that code would be. If it's a food service, you're going to have a lot more code issues, as exhaust. The panels need to be replaced. All of that. That would happen. What may happen also and occur is once you start that renovation, the city and the fire marshal may say, you're starting so much percent of code up, what are you going to do about the rest of them? Because it's an old physical plant. Two is we need to make a determination, the county commissioners court, as to is there any county needed space in the courthouse for functions or offices? Because if not, then you can declare the space surplus for whatever you want. If you want to bring in a food service provider, we'd have to do an RFP. There's going to be some very stringent liability issues, not only just health licenses. Now, what we can provide you, as I said before, we can supplement what is there now. We have some vending machines only for drinks, but the county does have existing contracts for food machines, vending machines that have cold sandwiches, et cetera. There are even machines on our contract that would be frozen food that could be thawed out through a microwave for a source of food. So these are the things that the court needs to take one at a time to decide what you would like to do. I didn't include it, but there has been a petition sent to the executive office by quite a few of the county courthouse employees asking that somehow that it be kept available for food. Now, not necessarily there, I just said to make food accessible to them. So in the form of vending machines is an option, in the form of an RFP for a food vendor. But first, the court, I think, needs to make a determination, is that space needed for something else other than food services, since we could use machines that are outside the space, that we have immediately outside the space. So those are things that...
Has there been a conversation with the people at the courthouse? They actually eat there? And
no, sir, not at this point, not until I gave you these facts.
Well,
other than, like I'm telling you, we do have contracts that we could...
What about food trucks?
Okay, food trucks becomes an issue. We've discussed it. Food trucks is, right now, you know how congested the parking lots are because of the construction. Food trucks, we'd also need to do an RFP. We would need to make sure that all the liability insurances are there. And where would you locate them? Since right now, space is at a premium. I don't know if they want to necessarily walk a distance to a food truck. So these are just things that we have discussed. With Mr. Guerra and in planning this agenda item.
In answer to Commissioner Cantu's question, I think there has been no formal complaints by employees or whatever.
Correct.
Because they haven't had the venue to do that. But I think just anecdotally, they're complaining. When they're used to being able to go get food or whatever, now it's not available. It is an inconvenience. So
let me read the last sentence of it's a very short paragraph from the petition. It says, "We respectfully request our county commissioners consider keeping the snack bar open and or consider other available options." So
why don't we just do an RFP?
For which type? Food trucks or a vendor to occupy the space?
Well, I would say a vendor, but if the commission would like us to consider food trucks.
Okay, I think the logistics of where we would put food trucks is a little more problematic in my
the
opinion.
RFP for the same space, that would
Okay.
be fine too.
So, okay, now, Mr. Guerra, have you had any requests for the space?
Well,
I mean, I'm just asking, have there been any calls in?
No, there was one phone call, but the call assumed that it was county-operated. And I informed the caller that this was not a county operation. This
Oh,
was
yes,
through
I
an
got that
agreement.
call too.
Okay,
This-
so it was the
an
same phone call
employee,
we got.
an
And so,
employee.
and so,
No, but I'm saying county departments that need the space, have you had any requests?
No.
I'm not aware of any.
no, I have not.
I'm going to make a suggestion. Can we take action, Steve, that we deem today the necessity of continuing to use that space?
As for food purposes.
I'm sorry, go ahead and.
Sorry.
And tell it, go ahead. Oh,
For food purposes.
okay. Did you get that, Steve? Okay.
I'm okay with that. The only thing I want to add is we may, as Marty said earlier, we may have to go in there with some inspections and renovations.
No, we're taking step one.
Right.
Step one
Step one is that we're going to use it for food purposes.
Okay.
Okay, there's going to be step two, but that's step one. We need it for food purposes.
We'll do the research in different
Okay,
options.
May I have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now, the step two is because of the condition of the space, we have limitations as to the use of that.
Correct.
Okay, so we want you to consider the limitations and put it out as RFP as to what could be conducted there under its present conditions.
Correct.
All right. Do I have a motion for that?
Okay, just to follow up on that, so we're going to check to see what kind of use will be allowed, right, because of the.
Yeah, we
the
basically
condition of the
can't
building?
have hot food, basically.
Yes, the first issue, as soon as their inventory is picked up, their assets, would be to conduct that, and we could give you a status of what would limit us if we have to completely rewire, whatever it is.
Right.
I will bring that to you, but we will start researching an RFP
But
for
our
food
term
service
is going to be a
providers.
short term, we're going to be in the new courthouse.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it
Definitely.
makes no sense to put a lot of investment in something for their short use. If there's available, food available to them. So that's what you need to think and get together and figure out
Right.
what the best alternative is.
You did give me some resources yesterday, Judge, about the
And
city of McAllen.
as packed as the parking lot area is, a food truck is not very big. So don't just completely discount it. It
No,
may be
I
the
won't.
only option if the condition of
No,
that
we
place
can give
is.
you two options then. Look up both types of RFPs, which would really help us in possibly utilizing space for another.
The condition of that space is going to dictate what can.
What really
be.
happens.
That's
So that we can get
correct.
some figures for you,
That-
or conditions,
That's correct.
assessments.
And that's,
Okay.
and that's the authority we're giving her to
Yes.
to go out and pursue.
Well, thank you very much.
So I think we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Cantu said, continue to look into the food truck possibility. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now you have direction.
Thank you. Item 2, we'll be taking no action today. Item 3, this is a recommendation by Group Health Program Consultant to issue Addendum 1 for the RFP that's currently out. And this is to clarify that on the life insurance and AD&D, that we clarify that it is net of commissions. Mr. Looney feels that historically, we have always received it net of commissions. Now, there's been some discussion as to what net of commissions can mean. Right now, I'll tell you, the current situation is that life and AD&D is through Dearborn. Dearborn is owned by Blue Cross Blue Shield. An employee of Blue Cross Blue Shield is the representative for Dearborn, which is a subsidiary of theirs. I can, according to Mr. Looney, I have not talked to Blue Cross Blue Shield, that employee is salaried and it is not, to our knowledge, paid a commission. So that's what he wanted to make sure, that historically we have received those two products free of net of commissions and only request a rep within the company. So I don't know what the court's.
You understand? Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
You're okay with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, let me go to my next page, but I had some backups for you. I apologize for the delay. I'm missing my agenda.
I can
If
read
you
it.
give me just a second.
Approval of change order number 30 for roofing alternate TPO option in connection with the construction of the new Hidalgo County Courthouse from contracted vendor Morganti, Texas, Inc. in the amount of $143,820.
Right, and this essentially is an improvement on the warranty on this TPO. It is a 20-year warranty, and it is recommended through the architects.
So moved.
Second.
I'm back on track. Item 19B.
Hold on, Marty.
Okay, I'm sorry, Judge.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item B1, Executive Office. This is requesting authority to enter an agreement with Swaggit Productions. This is the company that allows the online streaming of our Commissioners Court meetings.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
C1, Precinct 1, discussion and action to approve the letter regarding agreement between the County of Hidalgo and Hidalgo and Cameron County Irrigation District 9 regarding Mile 6 West Roadway. And as I understand it, it would be, Commissioner, under your precinct?
Yes.
And I think in essence it says, we're going to have to destroy some things, but we're going to replace them, and you will not be held accountable for that destruction. I think
Before
that's
you
what-
make a motion, I received a letter from the attorney for Irrigation District Number 9 this morning at about 8:45. And I forwarded that signed letter from HCID Number 9, 2 letters, to Fred Herrera at LNG. And I'd ask that we take no action at today's meeting. Let's let Fred look at the letter, and let me look at the letter, to have a chance to review it, compare it to the one I forwarded to the precinct and to the judge, and make sure it's the same letter with the same content. And it's already been signed by HCID Number 9.
That's not a problem, so long as maybe next Tuesday we can have it as part of the consideration for the agenda.
You wouldn't want us to approve it subject to legal? That wouldn't be
You
enough?
could do it that way if you want to.
That would, I would assume that would expedite it even.
That would expedite it even more.
We're just under a very tight construction deadline, so it'd
Move
be
for
nice to-
approval subject to legal.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2 is requesting authority to purchase one Chevrolet Silverado 2500 through our co-op buy board awarded vendor, which is Caldwell Country Chevrolet, in the amount of $54,604, of which, through the requisition, $39,7170, of which $400 is the admin fee.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 3 is authority to purchase heavy equipment detailed herein through Hidalgo County's membership buy board purchasing cooperative, awarded vendor Central Texas Equipment under contract number as stated on the agenda. One is requisition 396406, $78,000, 396405, $135,800.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Precinct 2, requesting approval of supplemental agreement 2 with TEDSI Infrastructure contract number as stated, resulting in an additional engineering services to an estimated cost increase of $94,000 under work authorization 3 for the Dicker Road project.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2 is requesting approval to complete and submit a credit application as required by vendor ACT Pipe and Supply for the purpose of setting up our account with authority for the precinct commissioner to sign.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 3 is requesting approval to purchase the following heavy equipment through county's membership through TASB Buy Board's cooperative contract, and that's requisition 399152, $165,077.41 through Rush Truck
Move for
Speed
approval.
Rail.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Judge,
Item 4.
Commissioners, and Marty, please, my apologies. And for the record, there were 3 participation forms that were submitted for 19C2, 19C3, and 19D3, and it had to, in essence, the cost of the equipment that was purchased. But Everything was procured,
Through our co-op, and the pricing has been verified?
verified, and that is the state pricing that we have.
Correct. That is the co-op pricing
I'm
that
sorry,
we have.
co-op
Yes.
pricing. 19C2,
The truck?
yes, the 56,604, 19C3, the
That's,
two rollers.
just for clarification, that's a utility truck, a service truck that will provide all kinds of maintenance to our vehicles that are on the road. That's not a typical vehicle, that's a service truck that we're gonna be putting out into the field. We don't have anything for our maintenance people, so when we have a truck that breaks down or equipment that breaks down, they're using a regular standard pickup. Sometimes we need winches, sometimes we need heavy equipment. This is a utility truck that will help us provide service to our vehicles out in the field, so this is not a standard pickup truck.
And the same would apply for 19C3. This is not typical equipment. These are
So-
specialized rollers.
So our road equipment is
Correct.
very aged in Precinct 1. Our rollers continue to break down. We've been borrowing them from Precinct 2 and Precinct 3. We have a lot of road projects that are going on right now, and when they constantly break down, these purchases will allow our equipment to be more reliable to our field staff.
And less expenses on repairs.
Correct, and it allows them to keep working. They've been very generous in allowing us to borrow their equipment.
Correct.
We've borrowed a BOMAG, which allows us to recycle material and create some new underlayment. These particular pneumatic roller and the other rollers allow us to continue with our road projects that we consider to be very important. We're trying to improve some streets that are in front of school districts, in front of schools. There's a lot of potholes with respect to safety. We have a lot of swerving. We have kids walking along the side of the road, and it's very dangerous. So we're asking to buy these through the buy board because these have already been state procured contracts. This allows us to expedite. We don't have to go out for RFP. They have already been through.
For a bit, because there's volume buying
Correct. There has already been a procurement state process that has
that
gone
we've
through.
complied with.
So our purchases of these equipment is to allow us to keep working efficiently. Was that sufficient as
Yes.
far as an answer? Sure.
Okay, we're now on 4. Requesting authority to advertise in accordance with Texas Local Government Code 2269-251 through the construction manager at risk, one-step process for the consultation and construction of North San Juan Park Swimming Pool Project in Precinct 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item B is approval of the CMAR procurement packet for the consultation and construction of the North San Juan Park Swimming Pool Project in Precinct 2, reviewed as to form by legal counsel.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Approval to select and designate the evaluation committee to score and rank the RFQP responses that will be received on the construction manager at risk, one-step process for North San Juan Park Swimming Pool Project. Who do you wish to name, Commissioner? Armando?
And Erica. And Jorge and Rosa.
Erica and Jorge? Okay,
Move
thank
for
you.
approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
5A, acceptance and approval to execute the final form of professional engineering services contract number 1016 for inspection, material testing, construction management for the Dicker Road project from 23rd to Jackson. This is CSJ 0921-02312 in Hidalgo County Precinct 2 with B to Z Engineering.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
B is requesting approval of work authorization 1 in the amount of $1,165,481.52 with B to Z contract for the Dicker Road project.
Approval. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Under precinct 3E1, requesting approval of the final negotiated agreement with Hidalgo County Emergency Services Foundation, DBA Hidalgo County EMS, for the purpose of emergency ambulance services for unincorporated areas within precinct 3.
Move for approval. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Precinct 4, this is approval to terminate the work authorization 1 for contract number as noted on the agenda, between Hidalgo County and B2Z Engineering in connection with the provision of engineering project management services for the project design and construction of Brewster Park. And this is because, as we did with the architect, this is for the precinct to reconsider the design and possible savings on a new construction of the park.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
2 is requesting approval of the on-call professional services agreement with ROFA Architects as it pertains to architect services for Precinct 4.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Constable's authority to purchase 2 2020 Chevrolet Tahoes through the TASB buy board contract awarded vendor Caldwell Country, and this is in the amount of $71,808 through the requisition as stated on the agenda.
That's for both.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Health and Human Services
I'm
Department.
sorry, Marty. And Judge Commissioners, again, for the record, there was a participation report for 19G1, which is the one that was just acted on. And again, these are verified prices through our, through the board.
Yes, through the buy board. And once we purchase from buy board, number one, we do it as an advantageous resource because they put out their RFPs in volume, their bids rather. And if we do that, according to the statute, we have complied with our competitive bidding requirements.
Thank you.
Yes. Item H1, Health and Human Services, approval to appoint and recommend evaluation committee as listed before the online billing services for Hidalgo County's Health and Human Services Department. And I think it's the recommended people are the 2 employees that work with it. That's Ms. Irene Sarmiento and Lourdes Acevedo. Does the court agree?
Well, okay, hold on. Explain this to me again.
This is online billing services for our pharmaceutical component of the Health and Human Services, those that are qualified.
What does it mean, online billing services? What are we doing?
We'll receive the billing from whoever the vendor is online, which they verify that they do comply with any limitations within that they can pay. And that's what it's for.
Okay, and these 2 are employees.
And they work with this is what they're charged with, along with your indigent burial.
And they're the best qualified to make that analysis?
Yes, sir. That is our opinion.
They're very smart.
Very knowledgeable of.
Good. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
I'm
Judge.
going to abstain, Judge.
Right, for the record, Commissioner
Let
Fuentes.
the record show Commissioner Fuentes abstained.
Item 2 is requesting authority to purchase influenza vaccines and pre-filled syringes in the total amount of $74,130.86 through the county's membership through MMCAP Cooperative Purchasing Program. The contract is listed for the Health and Human Services through the requisition. Again, this is a co-op of which we are members, and this is bulk purchasing for us to be able to access good pricing and meet our statutory requirements as far as bidding.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item for WIC 1A, approval of the county exercise the holdover provision under section 1.3 as provided in the contract for lease of office space, City of Mercedes, under the same rates, terms, and conditions to Laura Salinas, so as to have no lapse in services while the procurement process is completed. We've taken this step because the state, the WIC program runs on a different fiscal calendar than we do, and this is to make sure we don't have any lapse in service. Right now, for your information, we lease 5,000 square feet at 97 cents.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
2 would be the authority to advertise and approve a procurement packet for the new lease that we're going out for in the City of Mercedes.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2 is approval to exercise the county's also one-year renewal option under the same rates, terms, and conditions as provided in the contract with GBB Rentals. This is for the lease of office space in Alamo for the WIC program. Now, this one is 4,000 square feet, and we pay $1 square foot.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 3 is requesting approval to complete and submit the attached credit application as requested by Southern Tire Mart with authority for the county judge or Mr. Valdeguerra to execute the document.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4, presentation of the sole qualified responsible vendor, Mr. Miguel Barbosa, for the purpose of awarding bid and approving contract for the lease of office space, Alton East. This is 94 cents a square foot for 5,000 square feet.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item J1, this is Colonia Access Program Precinct 4, requesting acceptance and approval of the items herein as submitted by Total Commitment Construction, awarded contractor for Green Valley Development Subdivision, and as approved and reviewed by engineer Quintanilla Headley and Associates.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And A and B would be together certificate of substantial completion as submitted and reviewed by Mr. Quintanilla Headley and Associates. And 2, application for payment number 1, final, in the amount of $82,645.74, which does not include retainage.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Before you go on, Marty, I mean, you have a tremendous amount of items on the agenda for approval. And this was, when was the last meeting we had? It was last week. So how long did it take you to review all this thing? Do you sure you have enough people working for you to check all these things out?
It takes Saturdays, Sundays. I don't leave the office before, I mean, this is not for any
Well, because
self-glory, but 7:30.
I think it's a good investment on our part to make sure that you have the proper staffing to review these things. 'Cause I try to review these things, and it's just a lot of information, and sometimes, things will drop by. I mean, we'll drop things. So I want to encourage Valde and Sergio to make sure that they're looking at your office very carefully to empower you with the right personnel to look at these things, because this is where we're spending the money. So.
Thank you, Judge. Thank
Okay.
you.
And systems.
And
that's-
systems. We have been working on that very diligently.
Yeah, that'll
Thank you,
help
Commissioner.
improve efficiency.
Yes, we're trying to work smarter, not harder.
That's right.
But.
Okay, you can buy me coffee later. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go to 19K.
Item K1, Sheriff's Office requesting authority to purchase equipment from Insight Public Sector Incorporated in the total amount of $63,923.88, requisition as posted through our DIR participation contract, DIR TSO 4167, to replace switches and accessories, end of life of the switches, and provide POE.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
When opposed, motion carries.
L1, County Clerk, requesting authorization to continue the preservation of deed and official records, volumes 1997 to 2166, with co-file technologies through the membership and participation through the TexMass contract, that's through the state, in the amount of $428,400, and through the requisition as posted.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, motion carries.
Item M1 is for the presentation of the qualified vendor submitting the lowest and best bid for the purpose of award and approval of the contract for the RFB repair, removal, installation of radios, computers, and/or purchase of radios and miscellaneous equipment. Computers may throw people, but computers is that if we're removing equipment of radio equipment, there's also mounted computers in the vehicles, in the units, and that's what this is for, to remove them and replace them, not to purchase the
So
computer.
this is just with mobile units, not with buildings
No,
or structures?
well, it's countywide, so it can be used for any type of radio equipment.
Radio including televisions?
No, I don't believe it includes televisions, but you know what? I may have overlooked the
Can you
specs.
clarify? Because
I will clarify for you, and I'll send you word.
Thank you.
And Marty, also, to clean all the memories of all of those things,
Oh, on computers, is what you're saying?
On anything that we have.
On it, okay.
Do I have a
We'll look
motion?
into that.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And that's what I have for you for right now, and then we'll go into a workshop. Remind you.
Thank you, Marty.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Judge Commissioner, if I may, item 20A, 20A1, update on ongoing county-owned building construction relocation and/or renovation repair projects. No action to be taken today. Item 2, emergency situations occurring since last agenda meeting. Just as a point of information, we did have a power outage this morning, lasted about 20 minutes. It affected the courthouse and Annex 3 complex, which is this building. Everything was up and running, everything checked out. We did have one little issue in this building with respect to a section of the building as a result of the power outage, but that was addressed immediately, so all is in order. Item B, I'm going to ask no action on the Board Trade Alliance membership dues. Item C, I'm asking the court approval to accept settlement check from Pronto General Agency in the amount of $893.15 to settle damages to a county fence.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item D is approval to accept settlement check from Pronto General Agency in the amount of $2,823.90, and this is to settle an auto accident claim with one of our county vehicles.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And item E is approval to accept settlement check from Acacia Insurance Managers in the amount of $431.06, and this is to settle an auto accident claim with one of our county vehicles.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, we do have 3 participants under open forum. I will remind the audience to please respect the speaker's time at the podium. There is a 3-minute time limit, and I will advise when there is 1 minute. Our first presenter is Ms. Fern McClarty.
Obviously, the outage this morning didn't hurt the air conditioning. Commissioners, I am here today to remind you that you're in your capacity as Hidalgo County Commissioners Court and the Board of Directors for Hidalgo County Drainage District, you have approved the sale of $418.6 million in bonds. This is an increase of 10.5 cents. That's 7 cents for the new courthouse and related facilities, and 3.5 cents for drainage. The only reason more bonds were not sold was because it would have triggered a vote of the people, and that would never have been approved by the people. All to be paid by a population that has 40% of its members living in poverty. The debt that you have created will last for 20 to 30 years, while the jobs will last from 3 to 5 years. The explanation is the people get is that it's cheaper if we do it now. I run that by my husband all the time since y'all said that, and it doesn't work to him. And we need to prepare for growing population. What happens if the growing population includes 50 to 60% poverty rate? I hope you have a plan, because taking more money from the poor by selling bonds and creating laws such as the scofflaw law only creates criminals from people whose only crime is being poor. And today I did a participation forms on the vehicle. There's 6 vehicles, and y'all spent $505,289.41. And my question was, the very first thing on the agenda today, which y'all did not do, was the tax rate. And when y'all purchase all these, maybe they're wonderful, but we, the taxpayers, want to know how we can keep paying. How can our property taxes keep going up? The tax rate and the appraisals just keep going up and up and up, and this when y'all buy and spend things like this. So this is our question. And the last thing was the lighting in the colonias. Why isn't the county deciding which colonias are being picked? This is your job, to look and see which ones are the poorest, the ones that need it the most right now, not just a special group that picks and chooses theirs. So we would like to ask you to look at these colonias, and taxpayers' money, and you need to be looking to see who needs it the worst and start at the top and then go down. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Mr. Joe Rodriguez.
Just to touch bases, June flooding, work orders, spoken to several people in different precincts. They're still wondering why bar ditches aren't being maintained, culvert pipes aren't being cleaned out. Are you just waiting for those areas to be annexed by cities? Because it looks like it, because the cities are encroaching on those streets and those colonias, and it seems like it's like being put off. The other one is you're approving subdivisions, no drainage included in those things. Remember the drainage, and it will come back to bite us, and I mean us, taxpayers. The other one is I urge all people out there, all the voters, to come out here and voice their opinions and their concerns to you, because maybe that's the only way you'll listen. Of these communities that are getting flooded, that don't get anything done until certain commissioners are up for elections, or commissioners that have been in office for years and years. We need something done. Like I've said before, we continue to hear this every day, every other week, every month. Some politician, ex-politician, gets indicted for backroom dealings, under the table dealing, bribes. I mean, really, that's the biggest black eye the Hidalgo County has, that it continues, and it seems that it will never be done. So I urge everybody to come out here and voice their concerns on this, and vote right, and vote with your conscience, because it continues to happen, and vote these people that are doing nothing for us out, because, I mean, it's falling on deaf ears. It continues to fall on deaf ears. Nobody's doing anything. It seems like it just rolls off your back like a duck. I mean, really, let's do something, because you're leaving these debts to our grandkids, and 20, 30 years come by like that. So think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And our last presenter is Mr. Jerusalem Flores.
What is the name?
Jerusalem Flores. Mr. Flores.
Yes, good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Yes, my name is Jerusalem Flores. I'm here once again asking for property tax relief, not just for myself, but for all homeowners of Hidalgo County. Property values have risen dramatically, and so have our taxes. So please consider decreasing the tax rate as a way to remedy this rise in property values and taxes. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, there's about 30% of the residents of Hidalgo County live below the poverty rate. Not all of them live in government housing. Many are trying to hold on to their property, but for how long with this rising taxes? Just drive through Ed Couch, drive through Elsa, get into those streets there, San Carlos, drive in there, and you'll see those homes. You'll see people barely holding on to their property. Drive through La Villa, drive in there. Drive near Economides High School, and you'll see people struggling. Over there by Doolittle, there's a lot of people struggling. They're barely making it. I don't think they can take another. They can't take another, more taxes. This has to slow down. This has to stop, and probably be reversed. Also, according to the U.S. Census, per capita income is $15,000 a year. The median household is $37,000 a year. Well, what does that mean? Well, Texas has 254 counties, and Hidalgo County ranks 247 as being the poorest county. It's one of the poorest counties in the state. But just to give you some perspective on that, 254 counties, Hidalgo County is way towards the bottom. Let's see. Also, so in other words, you're taxing a very weak economy. the largest employment sector of this economy is retail. So, and retail tends to be low-pay sector. The ones doing better, probably those in education and medicine and government, they tend to be the ones doing better than the retail sector, which is the largest employment sector in this country. I mean, in this county. Also, we're in the middle of our president has this country in the middle of a trade war. That's a sign of a weak economy, or else we wouldn't be in a trade war. He's defending our producers and this and that. But anyway, just please consider decreasing our taxes somehow. Well, mainly by dropping the tax rate. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to go into closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071 and 551.072 and 551.074. We need to discuss some items in executive session. May I have a motion to retire? Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any action items to be taken will be taken back in open session. Okay, we're back from executive session. Are there any action items to be taken?
Yes, thank you, Judge Commissioners. Item 24, open session. 24A, real estate acquisition appropriation for same. There's no action to be taken today. Item 24B, pending and or potential litigation, no action. Item 24C, pending potential litigation, post-2020 census redistricting. There is no action to be taken. Proceed as directed. 24D, discussion and or deliberation regarding the appointment and or employment of Public Defender's Office Director. Commissioner?
We make a motion to hire Lawrence Larry Esparza.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Esparza.
As it echoes.
Yes, it echoes.
Item 24E, discussion and or deliberation regarding the appointment and or employment of the Veteran Service Officer. There's no action to be taken today. We will proceed as directed. Item 24F, cause number C-0262-16-G, Teresa Barrera et al. Versus Hidalgo County et al. And cause number C-5342-17-C, City of Donna versus County of Hidalgo et al. I'd like to refer back to agenda item 23A and B. 23A, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 262024884, a professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
23B, engagement with the firm of Jones, Galligan, Key, and Lozano for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit letter of engagement subject to compliance with House Bill 1295 specific to open session 24F1, cause number C-0262-16-G, Teresa Barrera et al. Versus Hidalgo County et al. And 24F2, cause number C-5342-17-C, City of Donna versus County of Hidalgo et al.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Open session 24F3, cause number CL-170367-F, Raul Muniz and Daniel Muniz versus Hidalgo County. Judge Commissioners, we will be asking Ms. Josephine Ramirez's office and Mr. Victor Garza to continue representation for Hidalgo County. And for the record, if we could have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Open session 24F4, cause number 15-CV-435, Gregorio Trevino Jr. versus Hidalgo County et al. I'd like to refer to agenda item 23A and B. 23A, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 262024884, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 23, engagement with the firm of Preston Henriksen for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit letter of engagement subject to compliance with House Bill 1295 specific to open session 24F4, cause number 15 CV 435, Gregorio Tervino Jr. versus Hidalgo County et al.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 24G, cause number C0832-17-A, Angelina Guerrero, individually and as representative of the estate of Oralia S. Trevino, deceased, versus South Texas AirMed et al. Judge Commissioners, we will ask Ms. Josephine Ramirez's office with the District Attorney Civil Division and Mr. Victor Garza to represent the County of Hidalgo.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 24H, CL 194091-H, Alma Mendoza Perez et al. Versus Hidalgo County. Again, Judge Commissioners, we will be asking Ms. Josephine Ramirez's office, District Attorney Civil Division, along with Mr. Victor Garza to represent the County of Hidalgo.
So.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And 24I, claim of Emilia Vasquez. Judge Commissioners, I'd like Settlement Authority to make an offer in the amount of $2,300.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
There is no need for closed or open session, and before adjournment, we do have a workshop scheduled next week, Tuesday, for the budget. We will have a very, very small agenda as well.
Okay, I believe that concludes our agenda items. I have a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.